recoil. When he speaks, the ground quakes. And when a first-year fencer sprains her ankle in the woods, he murders opponents in her honor. Behold him in all of his glory.
Is there a Laurel who will speak for this man this day?
Your Majesties, I am Mistress Eva Woderose, and I bring an interesting letter for Thomas from Master Philip White, who would speak as a member of this order. Please pardon his Laurel-driven need to quote from period sources. From Philip. Thomas, I think there are things you can learn from the greatest dancing masters of our time upon your ascent to the peerage. From our bow. For dancing is practiced to reveal whether lovers are in good health and sound of limb, after which they are permitted to kiss their mistress in order that they may touch and savor one another. Thus, to ascertain if they are shapely or emit an unpleasant odor as a bad meat. Therefore, from this standpoint, quite apart from the many other advantages to be derived from dancing, it becomes an essential in a well-ordered society. From Caruso. When a gentleman wears a sword while dancing these lively dances, he should hold it with his left hand, so that it will not wave around wildly. Also, if he finds himself dancing in a very small space, he should hold it still with his left hand, turning it a bit by bit by that hand, so that the point will hang forward in order to avoid offense to those seated behind him. If you have space, however, allow it to move as usual, etc. Or in summation, take care of your sword, and try not to smell too badly. Thomas, he finishes his letter by saying that he loves you, that you're a good man, and that he sees you as his peer. As do I. Thank you, Your Majesty.
Is there a member of the chivalry to speak for this count?
Your Majesties, if I may, please. I'm Brennan Mcburger, Knight of the Society, and it is my pleasure to speak for Thomas. Thomas and I are men of an ilk. We are prowess first men. There's an analogy for the peerage of building the cup with your skill and your craft, and then filling it with all the things that make a peer. Leadership and arts and service and humility and tact. And Thomas and I spent a lot of time building a cup. Now it is time for you and I to spend some time filling it. But the flip side of that is Thomas is a man of honesty. He is what he is. He speaks his truth. It is blunt as a 2x4, but it is him for all the world to see. And I love you for that. When we spoke earlier, what I said was the time for egos is with your mascot. now is the time to remove your ego and serve your kingdom. And I would say that this is a man who will serve your kingdom well, your majesties, as well as this society. This is a man that I am pleased to call brother and a peer. Thank you.
Is there a member of the Order of the Pelican to speak for this candidate?
Your Majesties, I have that honor. May I address your populace?
Please.
I am Count William of Fairhaven of the Middle Kingdom, Knight of the Society, Master of the Pelican, Baron of the Court of Caoilfhionn, and I am honored today to speak for my friend Thomas. I am often asked, what is the key feature of peerage in our society? And there are many good answers, but I always answer with devotion. When the motivated decide they need to take a break, the devoted press on to ensure that everyone else is taken care of. When the committed have had enough, the devoted work long into the night. When the hard chargers have had enough and decide to put up their feet, the devoted sweep the floors and are the last to lock up. I have known Thomas a long time. We have been friends in the SCA. We have worked together. We have played music professionally together. In all the time that I have known Thomas, I have always known him to be devoted. He is devoted to his wife and his friends and his family. He is devoted to the art of the sword. But most of all, he is devoted to the crown of the Middle Kingdom and its well-being. In his own way. And he will be a devoted and loyal servant of the crowns that you wear and the thrones that you sit upon. He will be a trustworthy soul that you never have to worry about. And he will always be that devoted person that I have come to know over so many years. He is most definitely my peer, and I thank you very kindly for the opportunity to speak for him. Thank you, May.
Is there a Lady of the Rose to speak?
Your Majesties, I am Caoilfhionn Phelan. I am your heir and princess of all Tirmara. And I not only claim that right, but I will defend that right on any field against any soul who would dare to try to take it from me. I've said that once before. I am charged with speaking of courtesy. I could talk about Thomas's courtesy as a fencer, or as a distinguished member of Prowess Town. He takes the time to help others earn their own residency there. I could talk about his courtesy as service, for it is varied, plentiful, and gladly done. I can tell you that for many, he is a rock. He is a safe and steady presence when you need an ear to listen, a shoulder to cry on, or sometimes a hand to hold. But instead of focusing on the many ways in which he is courteous, I will speak about character. Sometimes you meet a person and you know that they are a peer, regardless of whether or not they hold a patent. Thomas is not one of those people. When I first met Thomas, he was the type to speak first and think later. got him into a fair amount of trouble, but unlike others who share that same trait, he did think later. He examined his words and actions, contemplated the ways in which it may affect those around him, and when necessary, apologized and made it right. He only speaks this way because he has so much fire and so much passion. When he cares about something or someone, he cares deeply and fiercely. Over time, he has grown into a person who mostly considers his words and actions before he speaks and acts. But his passion and his fire continue to burn bright. It is easy to accept your own faults and flaws and to expect others to as well. But it shows extraordinary character to admit your faults and flaws, to acknowledge potential fallouts from your actions, and to actively seek to become the best version of oneself. And that is what Thomas has done. Too often we answer the question, what is a peer or what is courtesy, with cookie-cutter answers. We have an archetype in our mind. But I want you to consider that this man who kneels before our king and queen, he is a man of conviction who will allow no wrong to go unaddressed, simply because letting it go is easier or more popular. We need peers who will hold our feet to the fire, who will hold us all accountable when our actions or words are truly harmful to each other, to the kingdom, or to the dream itself. What is more courteous, more peer-like, than being a constant defender of the people as a whole, speaking truth to power for those who cannot or will not? Thomas was that fencer wearing the Deadpool mask when I first met him. He was named Queen's Champion by Queen Evelina, and I inherited him a week later. He served this office with humility, pride, and fierce loyalty. Promise me this one. My life is better for his presence in it. This kingdom is better for his presence in it. And the Order of Defense will be better for his presence in it. Thomas of Effingham is my friend, my forever champion, my Don. And in front of the populace of the East, our distinguished guests, with fire and passion of my own, and absolute and unshakable certainty, I tell you now, he is my peer.
Here, here.
Is there a member of the Order of Defense that will speak for this man?
Yes, Your Majesty, I have that honor. With your permission, I would like to address your populace. Good evening, I'm Master Colin McNish, a premier member of the Middle Kingdom Order of Defense. I'd like to talk a moment about decisions. Sometimes you make a decision and you don't really know what the outcome of that decision will be. Several years ago, I asked my roommate, who I had been training to fight in my living room, I suggested maybe we should go to Penzing. And he said, what's that? It's this awesome event, but first we got to get you authorized. Okay. This was 4:30 in the morning, and so around 9 we hopped in the vehicle and we drove to his first event, and Your Majesties, here we are. It's been suggested to me that I talk about Thomas's perseverance. I think we've all seen that. Those of you who know him, he's gone through changes of location and kingdom and hardships, social and otherwise, and here we are. In the Middle Kingdom, we also talk about sprezzatura, nonchalance, ease of doing things. And I don't know that that specifically applies here, but I think you can say that Thomas has a way about him that draws people to the things that he does. that makes people interested in the things that he is interested in and the things that he is doing. When I need someone outside of my social circle to go to advice or to bounce an idea off of, Thomas of Effingham is the man that I call. He is beyond any doubt my peer, and for that, I cannot commend him to you any higher for your order of defense. Thank you, Your Majesty.
Their Majesties invite into their court the companions of the Order of Defense.
In the East, we have an affectation of referring to our dependents as our children. And it's meant with affection, but it never suited us. Because Thomas came to me as a man of worth and accomplishment already. Thomas, I am honored that I was able to walk the final mile with you, but I recognize the journey you had taken before. I release you from your fealty. And I give you this in hopes that you will find someone to wear it. And say, while you are no longer of my household, you are always welcome in my house. Thank you, Your Majesty.
Is there a coat?
There is. This was made for him by the Carolingian Calibers and some friends.
Wow.
Wow. That is awesome.
Right. Is there a collar?
Your Majesties, there are several. Thomas's brethren from the mid-realm have traveled far with a collar, and I would have them present it if you would recognize Master Mirabai. Please.
Thank you, Your Majesty. I am Maestra Mirabai of the Mid-Realm, and I have the fortune to call this man my scarf brother. I was his scarf sister. I bear with me one of the legacy collars of the Mid-Realm. There were 3 collars given to our premiers when they were made premiers of our order. This was the collar borne by Master Colin, and it is not only a legacy collar, but it is a lineage collar. It was given from Master Colin to Master Darius, from Master Darius to Master Lisbetta, and from Master Lisbetta to me. And I bear it here today to give it to my brother, Thomas Effingham.
There's another collar.
Very important. Because actually, what is?
We figured Thomas needed a special one.
Oh, yes.
And one more, Your Majesty.
such wonderful pieces of art to carry. There must always be something. This
Are there gloves?
There are your knives.